department, and in ways that we never knew they existed, and so we were able to work that out, absent of the chief. The chief wasn't there. We were just black firefighters there, representing Brothers Combined. And so we went down, and Mr. Hill had done all of this. He had opened those doors and had the Chamber of Commerce to meet us and get to know us, and so they could come in and support our movement. And lo and behold, from that, we always had the black news editors. All the news editors, they were always on our side. They were the key to keeping us in the forefront. And they were, anything I carried over there to them, they trusted me as the factual part of it and everything, they would print it. And I would have headlines, firefighters this, firefighters that. And so that was how we moved everything along. And I remember Mr. Miller Farr was the editor of the Atlanta Inquirer, and we worked together hand in hand. He was my advisor and everything. And so my opportunity came about when the mayor, Andy Young, was looking for a way to appoint some of his cabinet members. And originally, the fire chief was a part of his cabinet, but because Napa was on board and it put him as commissioner of public safety, he took the place of the fire chief. In other words, he became the cabinet member, and the fire chief and the police chief, we were under Napa. And so I will never forget, in the rule book, they couldn't change the rule book, so they just drew a pencil mark around it and transferred all of that over to the commissioner's office. Fire chief, everything pertaining to the fire chief in the executive office was moved over to the commissioner's office. They just took it to ship. I laughed about it, but anyway, that's what was happening, and so that existed, and the mayor was checking with. He had some people that were competing with me, and I was told by the mayor and everybody else they wanted to transfer me to the airport so that they could make sure the airport is the slowest operation in the fire department. You wouldn't think so, but it is. You have fires out there, but very minor. And so they were going to transfer me to the airport so they could get me out of the limelight and keep me quiet and everything so I could move right on in. But that failed because I didn't really want to go to the airport, and for some reason I didn't push the idea, and I just laid low on it. So I stayed in communication. And then they made me assistant chief to the chief at that time, and who was from Washington, D.C. And he proved to be such a failure and hippie, so the mayor had to get rid of him. They kept him there for about, I think he stayed there for about a year and a half. So then they got rid of him, and then all of a sudden, that's when I got the call telling me that I was going to be the next fire chief, And I was on pins and needles. And so I was told by the city council president called me and invited me over to the council and to be sworn in. And I really didn't know the mayor's action had taken place. He had said that he was going to appoint me, and then from there on, I was invited to the council, and the council made a motion to appoint me fire chief, and confirmed it, and I came back to the fire station, to my office over there, and I was the fire chief, and that's when I saw Brown, and I told him about that. I was his boss all of a sudden. And that didn't go, but he was really hurt.
How did it feel to achieve a lifelong dream from being somebody where your fire chief says, we don't want you, to you standing in that man's
I thought about that, and from the moment I went in the office, and the desk that he had in his office was a big, fine desk, a very nice desk. I had it refurbished and everything, and that was my desk. That was my Lego, carried back to him, to let him, remind me that I took his job. And believe me, I had that and a lot of other little mementos around there in my office.
the biggest difference between the fire department of 2015 and the one of 1963?
The biggest difference is technology and cooperation.